Welcome back. Happy holidays to you all. We just had a big update with a lot of changes to heroes. Some of it is just verbiage change. So I made my own sheet and I went down it to see what was nerfed and what was buffed, and that's what we're going to talk about. Nicholas now has a 100% chance to stealth from this passive, but he is not a good hero. I've used him in so much content. The only thing that he's actually pretty decent in is the favored dungeon. Anything else, there are AoE abilities that knock him out of stealth. All bosses, pretty much all monsters that we face, even the small ones, going through the Forbidden Dungeon, do an AoE ability, and he'll be knocked out of stealth, so he won't counterattack with that ability to provoke and do nice damage. He just won't be in stealth, so when your allies are hit, he won't counterattack. If you're using him somewhere, please let me know. Come and join the 3,200 supporters over at the Netmarble website. Pick me as your content creator, and I will send you 200 stamina this month. Details are down below. Alkalon, this is just verbiage change. It's the same thing. He's going to act the same way that he always worked before. Rosier, same thing. With her Hook of Death, they're just giving you a description of exact amount of damage that it's doing, and then the bleed applied afterwards. Toren, same exact stuff. Círdan did get an increase, 70% chance to confuse the target, and the turns went up to 2 turns. The verbiage from top and bottom are in different order, but it's actually all the same stuff. So it's a little confusing. The passive ability here is also almost the same exact verbiage. Ralph here is the same as well. Nothing changed there. It's just telling you how much damage you're going to take when you use this ability. When Ralph gives you this big buff, whenever you attack with that hero, you lose 20% of your max HP every single time you attack. That's why you see your heroes dying slowly whenever they attack. This is a nice buff for Guinevere. Before, I think it capped out at 70%. Now we're going to 100% with skills, 20% less damage dealt. Stack that up twice. This is pretty good for Guinevere since she really doesn't bring a lot else. Boris was changed from counterattack damage increase proportional to lost HP to counterattack damage increase 3. I don't know if it's the same damage. It's definitely different, but you guys let me know if you've played Boris enough to know what this damage difference will be. Could be exactly the same. Isolde is the same. Frederick, I believe, is the same. I think he hit 2 times on this skill. They're just telling us now that he hits 2 times. Rosier got such a small nerf. I never use her skill 2. I always have her queued up to use her skill 3 and her skill 1. The skill 2 here gives you effect accuracy increase 2 before. Now it gives you effect accuracy increase 1. Very, very small, and you really shouldn't be using her skill 2 very often. Lancelot, on the other hand, got a big nerf. He went from damage taken increase 3 to damage taken increase 1. That is really big in the amount of dot damage that the enemy's going to take, getting that debuff up from 1 to 3. But I think 3 was really overpowered. Since he's a legendary, who's going to have 3? If Lancelot's not going to have it, then at least Lancelot should have dot damage increase 2, because we still have dot damage increase 1 given to us by Anguish, and he's a rare. So why wouldn't Lancelot have dot damage increase 2? Unless they just don't want to ever come out with a 2 and a 3, because it is too powerful. Whenever we have all those dots up on the enemy, it can just be overwhelming, and it's really easy to tear down an enemy with these debuffs and with crazy amount of dots, with Rosier extending them, with other heroes extending them. It just gets way too wild. So I can understand why they nerfed it. When they do a nerf like this, they should really have some kind of master reset token that's only for that hero, to where you can reset that hero, get back all their chivalries, get everything you put into that hero, because the biggest thing about leveling heroes in this game is doing their relics, doing their chivalries, leveling them up. It takes a lot of time and a lot of resources. So getting all that back, if you want to, would be really smart. I hope one day they come out with something like that. Kay on her Storm Relic got a buff. I have no idea where this is coming from to make Kay even stronger. Okay with me. She's amazing. We can do her skill 2 a few times to get those buffs up, that increased crit rate, increased critical damage, and then do a massive AoE. Same thing we were already doing. Now she's going to do additional damage of 25%, going from 25 to 50% if they're under 30% HP. Toren is the same verbiage. Círdan got a big buff with Chivalry 8. This move is a lot of fun as long as there's an enemy with an abnormal status effect. You do this big nuke for 8% of her total max HP now. And I think before it was pretty nice. I just didn't use her because the other abilities weren't that great. I've tried this, and I'm going to have to try this again and see how hard she can hit for. With this big buff, Chivalry 8, maybe it's going to be fun to break her out for the Forbidden Dungeon. I don't know where else we'd use her because we need abnormal status effect on the enemy. Arena, we could use her for Clan Wars. We'll have to see how hard it hits. Chivalry 1 for Ralph when an ally dies was changed. Before he got defense increase 3 for the rest of the battle. Now he gets defense increase 1 for 3 turns. I guess it was just too strong. You guys let me know who's playing Ralph out there, like really playing Ralph, not just to do the skill 3 buff, but who's using Ralph in this scenario to when an ally dies, then he goes ham. I have no idea why this got a nerf. It's Alkalon's Frost Relic with a skill 3 and Chivalry 4, going from 182% attack to 154% attack on an AoE ability. Maybe that's more damage than Gawain's doing. But I mean, hell, man, we've got guys like Cormac out there doing 400% of attack on an AoE ability. I don't get this. This is another really weird one. Toren's Frost Relic, skill 2, which is single target, went from 40% increased defense to that one target to 20% increased defense. Her Storm Relic gives the whole entire team increased defense of 40%. The whole team. Storm Relic is amazing with those buffs. She gets, speed and resistance increase on the skill 3 with her Storm Relic. I use her Frost Relic, and I use it for her skill 3 to get those big heals in there. I never use this Frost Relic for this skill 2. If you use it, let me know where you're using it. Where were you using it to buff one ally, and why was it so strong with increased defense of 40%? Toren got a buff on her passive and a nerf on her Chivalry 8. The passive before had to heal somebody that had 10% or less HP, which I don't think is happening very often. If you did, though, 50% chance to heal them by 30% of their max HP and abnormal status immunity for 1 turn. Now a 5% chance no matter what we do. Even skill 1, firing that over and over, a 5% chance to heal the lowest ally with 50% of the target's max HP. I think it's better. It's going to be a nice surprise. 5% chance and then boom, 50% of somebody's max HP is healed is pretty damn good. The Chivalry 8, though, had a 50% chance whenever you heal to restore 30% of the target's max HP and granted them abnormal status immunity. Still a 1-turn cooldown, so none of these are firing off multiple times in a round. Definitely a nerf. Before we had to heal somebody to have that 50% chance to give them 30% max HP. Now we can just do any skill and have a 10% chance to heal them by 50% max HP. And she's healing all the time. Like, she's a great, amazing healer. Healing and buffs, Toren is number 1 for me. She is by far the best healer in the whole entire game. I can't believe Ardoin got a buff. You've seen me use her Flame Relic. She is very overpowered, crazy damage with multiple targets, and rabbiting everybody. The Storm Relic now goes up to 786% attack as long as there's more than 1 target. If there's only 1 target, it's half that, which is still crazy damage with all the crowd control you're going to do. If there's 2 targets, 786% of attack is way insane. I'm using the Flame. It's always been 720%. It is still that as long as there are 2 or more targets. Frost doesn't get that benefit. They don't get that benefit of that additional target, so it will always be 360%. But that is an increase from what we had from Frost before. But Frost has a higher rate of rabbiting somebody, doing the polymorph, a 40% chance instead of the 20% chance we have in Storm and the 25% chance we have in Flame. But I still can't believe she got an increase. Ralph got a buff on his skill 2 for his Frost Relic, but it's the same that Storm and Flame were already doing. Total amount of 260%. Now he is exactly the same across the board for each of his relics on his skill 2 as far as damage goes. These bug fixes I have highlighted seem a little more interesting than the buffs above, especially if this black magic for Iwort is working now. Before, when we had the boss prioritized, she wouldn't get an additional turn when she does the passive. Maybe now she will. Same thing with the Hook of Death on Rosier. Whenever we went into a run and we targeted the boss, when we do multi-runs and we say, yes, select the boss first, Rosier would never do the Hook of Death. Now, I don't know why they didn't say here at the end it's because of targeting a boss. I'm hoping that's fixed. If stealing buffs are fixed, that's really good because I leveled up Frederick a long time ago on his Frost Relic, skill 2. There's a picture of it to steal buffs from the first dragon. Doing a skill 2 over and over, I was hoping I could steal those buffs, but he never did. I'll leave a link to the spreadsheet down below. Thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate your time, your love, your support. Let me know what you think about these buffs and nerfs down below. I will see you all in a video soon.